Should we do the thing?
Let's do the thing.
Welcome to Witchcast!
'Cause it's Witchcast.
I'm Emily.
I'm Kate.
And we're your co-hosts of this, the Witchcast podcast.
That's right. We're your learning, growing, ever-evolving novice witches here to explore everything under the woo-woo, esoteric, spiritual umbrella.
Ah, and what a stunning umbrella it is. Just the
She's
kind of thing that
gorge.
can keep the snow, sun, and rain away.
Yes, absolutely. She's resilient. And today we have story time.
Story time! Yeah, we're doing a little story time. One of our favorite little formats. Just the two of us hanging out, telling some stories. Pull up your seat or your broom or whatever around the campfire.
Yeah, get cozy, get your little cauldron out, get a little mug
Wrap
of tea.
yourself in a blanket. Pour a glass of wine or whatever makes you happy.
And get ready for some stories.
Cut off a big slice of cheesecake and get ready for some stories.
Oh my God, cheesecake.
Just a normal night.
So much dairy.
I haven't eaten a piece of cheesecake in like so long because I'm so lactose intolerant and I think about it all the time.
Oh, that's sad. You know, I'm not the biggest fan though of cheesecake. Like, it's good. I will eat it, but it's not. I don't think. I am also. I'm a low key lactose intolerant. Like I like suffer through it, but I really shouldn't eat dairy.
Yeah, I think I never wanted it until it became forbidden.
Right.
And also, like, I feel like Basque cheesecakes with, like, the very, like, burnt top became very trendy, and I kept seeing them in, like, my social media feed and stuff, and so it's
you
just,
are
like,
a food creator. You are a cook,
siren
like a home chef.
song.
Yeah. I it's funny. I do always think of just, like, the standard dry-ass diner cheesecake, but the good ones are good.
There are some fine cheesecakes out there. Anyway, we're not here to talk about cheesecake. We're here to talk about witchcraft.
Yes, witchy things. I mean, cheesecake can be witchy.
How do they get it so light and fluffy?
It's magic.
It's magic.
So Emily, what are you talking about today? What story are you telling us?
So I am going to be talking about the history of witches in Maryland. Now, I know that sounds like a strange thing to have chosen, but there is a point, or there is like a there is a topical tie-in,
a reason.
Yeah.
Yes. You'll just have to. There's a surprise. You just have to all listen to find out what it is.
Yeah. And Kate, what are you talking about today?
I am talking about the Queen of Vaudou of New Orleans, Marie Laveau.
Hubba hubba.
Yes. Some of you might know her as a character from what's that Ryan Murphy show? American Horror Story. Coven.
Okay, now I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Angela Bassett. Oh my God, she's beautiful. So American Horror Story has a character based on Marie Laveau. They take a lot of liberties, but I'm going to give you at least as much as we know about the incredible life of Marie Laveau. But first, let's look a little bit more north to Maryland.
Let's start these travels in Maryland, shall we?
Picturing a little map with like a...
Yeah, do.
Yes.
All right, so I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the history of witches in Maryland because it's relevant to a recent news story. So, while there were dozens of women killed in Massachusetts during the Salem witch trials, as we know, they weren't the only state to have similar trials. We've talked about this a little bit before, but at the time there was a widespread belief across Europe and that also came to the Americas, of course, because it was all Europeans making culture here at the time outside. You know what? Let's not get into it. But at the time there was a widespread belief in the idea that people, mostly women whose looks or vibes bothered other people, especially men, were in contact with the devil and doing witchcraft, and the witchcraft could curse you, make you sick, kill your chickens, cause you to stop speaking, create strife in your community, and so on and so forth. So, in Maryland, there were only a handful of witchcraft trials, but there were a few, and today I want to talk about the two most interesting ones, in my humble opinion. The first is a woman named Mary Lee. So Mary Lee was a passenger on the Charity of London, a ship which set sail for Maryland from England in 1654. Bad news bears, the ship had a difficult journey. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but sometimes the Atlantic can be a little choppy. And not every boat is necessarily built for ocean crossings. The thing is, though, that if you were a crew member on the Charity of London, it seems like maybe you didn't know that, because the men on the boat decided that their unusually bad weather and leaky boat could only be caused, obviously, by the machinations of an onboard witch.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So quoting from the Maryland Center for History and Culture, which in turn quotes from Witchcraft in Early North America by Allison Games and The Maryland Witch Trials by William H. Cook, choppy seas and violent winds plagued the Charity of London's journey from the start. An attempt to make land in Bermuda had failed due to crosswinds, and the ship grew daily more leaky almost to desperation, and the chief of seamen often declared their resolution of leaving her in an opportunity offered itself. Sorry, it got into historical text there, I guess.
Love it.
The passengers and crew grew more agitated as the ship weakened and the weather refused to yield. Rumor took hold amongst the crew that a witch had conjured the storms. Father Francis Fitzherbert, a Jesuit traveling to Maryland aboard the Charity, recalled the sailors' reasoning that the foul weather was not on account of the violence of the ship or atmosphere, but the malevolence of witches. Quote done. So they searched the passengers and decided that Mary Lee was obviously the cause of the storm, and they claimed to have found a protruding teat, a devil's marking or a witch's mark on her, which was used as evidence.
Oh my God.
Now, just quickly, I went way down a rabbit hole on this, but that could have been an extra nipple, or, it seems, possibly just a lack of understanding about female anatomy and its variations. Because, like, the witch's teeth, like, often showed up around the genitals and was, like, a little protrusion.
Oh my God, it literally was
and
a
there
clitoris.
Was, like, there's no understanding of
she's a witch.
Female anatomy. Anyway, so...
I also want to point out real quick and interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No,
that means they clearly, like searched all the women, I'm sure, all the women on the ship, stripped them, groped them, molested them, like, I'm sure... completely humiliated them. This is insinuating that to me, that they did a full body search.
Yeah, or they just specifically didn't like Mary Lee and were like,
and they
I have an idea for how we can get rid of her. Strip her down.
I also love that men thought a clit was a nipple. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that, like, she had, like, a birthmark or something instead, right. But, like...
Who among us doesn't?
Right, yeah.
Who doesn't
Singular
have a
freckle
nipple?
On her vagine, if you will. And, in fact, okay, so... On that, I was talking about, I went down a little rabbit hole about this. And so, we have to remember that sex education was literally nil in these times. And it is totally possible that the part of the impetus for stripping a woman naked and shaving her looking for witch marks or devil marks was not only to embarrass her, which it would, but also that humans are little freaks who want to see. And I ended up reading a really fascinating essay that you can access for free online with a JSTOR account called Witchcraft and Sexual Knowledge in Early Modern England by Julia M. Garrett. And I highly recommend it if you're interested in sort of the erotic side of witchcraft accusations and like the interest and lack of knowledge about anatomy.
Oh my gosh.
I also learned totally separately in this search that apparently Harry Styles has 4 nipples, and it's a well-known fact.
What?
I looked it up and there are photos. Apparently roughly 5% of all humans have extra nippular situations.
Yeah, that's a really high number.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Harry Styles is a witch!
Well, we knew that. We claimed him. He's great.
Right, yeah. Anyhow, so the upshot is that any protrusion around the fundament, the vagine that is, could be considered a witch's spare devil titty, which would be sucked on by their demons or devils.
Witch's spare devil titty. New band name, I call it.
Especially because the genital region was supposed to be particularly vulnerable to devilish interference and influence. And they say they found something there, so they hanged Mary Lee before they got to Maryland.
Oh, poor girl.
And then presumably we're like, well, we made it to Maryland. Obviously, we were right.
Yes, of course.
Interestingly, later, George Washington's great-grandfather accused the owner of that ship of committing a felony, seemingly in killing her before they got there and without, like, due process. But he ended up not showing up for the trial because it was the same day as his son's christening. And the owner said that he was there, but he wasn't in charge of the ship. He had given it over to, like, a captain. He was just there. I found that part of the historical record harder to understand, but I did think it was a fun tidbit.
Yeah, that's... I'm rolling my eyes so hard, but just like, God, the tomfoolery of men, man.
I shall not be there, for it is the day of my sonny's christening. Yeah. Do you think you could push it? Anyway, the other witch I wanted to touch on is a woman named Rebecca Fowler, who I believe was the only person to actually be convicted by a jury and killed as a witch on Maryland soil. She was someone who had been an indentured servant and then got out of it and married another former indentured servant that she'd fallen in love with. And by all reports, they were very in love, and they bought a house and they named it Fowler's Delight and lived the dream for a bit. And then they either hired or met an indentured servant in the region named Francis Sansbury, who then promptly accused her of bewitching him by making him sick or achy or otherwise unhappy, and basically they hanged her. Now, what does all this have to do with right now? So, a Democrat in the Maryland General Assembly, Delegate Heather Bagnall, I'm so sorry if that's not how you say your last name, Heather, introduced a resolution right before Halloween last year to formally apologize to people treated as witches, killed, and otherwise mistreated in the name of witchcraft in Maryland's history. The resolution got its first reading last month and is still in limbo. And I have a quote from Fox News, with my apologies for reading from Fox News, but it is the one that covered it. Boo! Quote, the 2-page initiative was pre-filed on October 28, just days before Halloween. The resolution says constitutional protections were absent during colonial Maryland's witch trials, and Delegate Bagnall's effort characterizes these prosecutions as a miscarriage of justice, adding that the witch trials unfairly led to community strife and panic. She said, the historical status of women was radically different than it is today. Misogyny played a large part in the trial of supposed witches and in denying defendants their rights and dignity. Now, Kate, I have a shocker for you. You may be shocked to learn that not everyone finds this resolution, which one would think was maybe a layup like naming a state bird, to be savory. And in fact, a local Republican named Kathy Seliga, let's go with Seliga. Kathy Seliga from Baltimore County questioned whether it was in fact timely for the General Assembly to bother debating this resolution. So Kathy said, quote, I'm just a little disappointed that the legislature is going to spend time, energy, and money looking at apologizing for witchcraft and the trauma that may have caused 7 people 350 years ago. Okay, fair enough. And then she goes on to say, witchcraft was illegal in the British colonies because we were under the rule of the British, under the rule of their laws. Maybe they were witches, and maybe they did break the law.
Wow. What's her name? Kathy?
Kathy, it's Zeliga. No,
I don't care about her last name. But boo, Kathy, boo.
Zeliga? Yeah, boo, Kathy.
Way not to be a girl's girl.
Right? And I just wanted to talk about this because
such a pick-me response.
Right? Come on. And I also am just like all riled up about the state of the world right now and wanted to use it as a bridge to talk about the fact that women's rights and gender roles are horrifyingly under attack right now, and we should be supporting our trans community, not just because we should support them, but because they are on the front lines of what is ultimately an attack, not just on LGBTQ rights, but also on the role of women in the world. And if you don't believe me, you should look into what they mean when they talk about, quote, gender insanity, because it ain't just trans people, and also look at the words that are being banned from research and such. Anyway, history and the present are always intrinsically linked, and everything is a nightmare.
Yay! Boo, but yay! Absolutely. I want to say amen. A woman. Well, first of all, I have to ask, has Maryland issued an apology or like whatever they call it for their role in slavery?
I have no idea, actually. I did not Google whether or not they did that.
Because that's like would be crazy if they apologized for these 7 witch trials more so than before they apologized for slavery. But not unexpected or surprising.
I did not look up historical precedents of apologies. The only one I know is that Massachusetts has apologized for the witch trials, but I don't know which states have otherwise apologized for witch horrors.
There's nothing, like, it's not hard and it's not wrong and it doesn't cost anything to be like, I'm sorry, my bad. You know, like,
right.
Our ancestors did fucked up shit.
Just like,
acknowledge it.
Like a sorry card? Is that a thing? Condolences? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
apology card? There's no such thing, is there?
Yeah, well, there should be. There should be an I'm sorry card category.
Maybe that's our next business
Let's
venture.
do it. Yes. Call.
Sorry,
get Hallmark on the line. I know. I wanted to point out, I love that you brought this into modern day and today because it is so relevant. Like, there are more, you said 5% of people have some sort of extraneous nipple. That is 4% more than trans people in America.
That's right.
We have less than, like, trans people make up less than 1%, and yet our government would have you believe
all this fucking time and energy.
They're the ones that are restricting your freedoms, hurting your wallets, you know, ruining our economy, when they're just individuals who want to live their lives. And transphobia hurts all of us. Gender affirming care is for everyone, men and women. Like, Viagra is gender affirming care. So, you know, I feel like the people listening to this know this. We don't need to preach to the choir, but it's just like,
just in case you need to hear someone say it.
Yeah.
Ah!
Exactly. Scream into a pillow. Everything is awful. Well, wow. Thank you for bringing to light these two women. What were the names of the two women again who were
Mary Lee and Rebecca Fowler. There was another person maybe hanged at sea, and there were some other people that were tried and either like pardoned or not, like it was inconclusive, or they were found not guilty. So it wasn't just these two, but these two were the ones that are, and also like some of them it's sort of like, did she exist? We're not sure. Like the records are kind of fuzzy. So these ones we definitely know about and have records. So I thought the ship story was interesting.
Yeah. It's giving very like sacrifice a princess overboard to the sea dragon. That's like a common East Asian myth. I know in Korea there's like a famous fairy tale where they like look for a village girl to like bring on their ship to sacrifice to the sea. Like this is like old days. This is like I don't even know what year it's supposed to take place in, but it's like a ancient fairy tale. I feel like men have been doing that since the beginning of time.
Men have been blaming the movement of the sea on just
blaming
like
everything on women.
Yeah, it's all our fault.
Wow. Well, pour one out for Lee and Fowler.
Yeah. Rip in peace.
What was I going to say? This is such a dark. This is not funny, but it's like a little funny to me because I have a very dark sense of humor, clearly. But as a Scorpio rising, I'm sure you get it. Of picturing being hanged on a ship sounds just terrible. Like, how do you stop moving? It's so rocky.
Sucks. Yeah.
That's a terrible way to go.
Like, do you wait to hang her until you have like clear waters?
How long is she swinging there? Yeah. Maybe they drop her from the mast so her neck snaps, hopefully, immediately. It's a terrible... I'm sorry. That's so dark, but like...
No, it's... Ugh, I mean, what you hope it was quick, at least.
Yeah, hopefully it was quick and painless for her. Sorry, Mary Lee.
Sucks to be you, baby. Have you ever seen... There was this song... I want to say like 1999-ish. There was a Canadian band called Prozac that had this song called Sucks to Be You. Went like, sucks to be you. I know. That's it. And it just repeated that over and over. And they were cartoon characters for some reason. And it's burned into my mind. And no one knows what the fuck I'm talking about. But everyone should Google it. Sucks to be you. I know. I don't even know if they had British accents or if that was just like my perception of them.
Just what you brought to it. I think it works better with the English accent. All right. Yeah. Well, that's going in my winter 2024 playlist, or I guess it's 2025 now, so I need to update that.
The future is upon us. The future... AI is here.
Oh God.
Sorry. I said, I've been in a foul mood. Okay, your turn.
Well, so I'm very fired up as well. My color of the year is red. That's what I'm channeling. Okay. And I'm channeling a lot of strength and community building. I'm donating monthly now to the ACLU and to the DSA. I'm joining my local groups too, like my AAPI groups here. So I'm like, definitely, I hope you all are doing okay if you are American. And honestly, a lot of other countries are in the shit now, too. We talked about this with Pluto and Aquarius, so I hope you're all hanging in there. But we're just coming out of not only the Grammys, but also the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And as someone who actually actively tries not to watch the major award shows and the Super Bowl, I did pay close attention to both this year. And they were amazing. Like... we are in February. It is Black History Month. And the Super Bowl has been like the blackest black Super Bowl, like Black excellence celebration ever, with the Eagles absolutely pummeling the Chiefs, which is very satisfying to watch. And then Kendrick Lamar and that halftime show, my fucking God. I was riveted the whole time. I had chills and like goosebumps. I was like, this is incredible. I'm watching history being made right now on stage. The amount of symbolism and, you know, just the richness of storytelling and just how like amazing not only he is as a talented, you know, rapper, but also just the way he kind of called forth the revolution right then and there. As an artist is just so inspiring and like really empowering. SZA, I love her. She was amazing. Yeah. I love seeing Samuel L. Jackson as like an Uncle Sam character. Yes. And then also obviously big shout outs to Serena Williams, who looked beautiful doing the crip walk. Amazing. There's so many like thought pieces already on the internet, so I won't get into that. But also just have to give a quick shout out to also my girl Beyonce winning album of the year. Finally, well deserved. And country album of the year.
Was do country.
I know.
So what brilliant. Do white people like?
Right? And like there's so many haters online. And everyone just needs to admit when they're like that they're racist, when they're complaining about DEI and all of that bullshit. Like there's so many companies walking back on that shit.
It's so
clearly anti-black. Bullshit. Yeah. And like we all know, like not all of us, but DEI mostly benefits white women first, but it's also, you know, veteran benefits. It's also, you know, nursing rooms for mothers, you know, and pregnant people after they give birth to be able to nurse at work. There's so many things and benefits to DEI, and people have, obviously the propaganda machine is working overtime. But also Doechii,
diversity, equity, inclusion. Which one are you mad at? Like what? Exactly. What don't you want? Like
it's just like I like to think of it as like the death rattle of white supremacy is where we're at. Like they're just they're freaking out and they've become full out Nazis. The mask is off. The villain is revealed. They're monologuing. Like we're at the monologue scene at the end.
Such a horror show. Yeah. I feel like we are at the monologue scene at the end in the grand scheme of white supremacy, and also we are at the beginning of a very, very long few
battle
years.
Scene. Yeah, it's the boss. It's the final boss. It's the final boss. I mean, we talked about this Pluto and Aquarius, man. By the way, I was able to be a guest on another podcast I post about it when it's live, okay. But I talked all about Pluto and Aquarius. I did more research. I dove deeper. Did you know that, I'm sorry, this is such a side topic, but it is relevant to Witchcast. Other previous times that Pluto's been in Aquarius, we know about the American and French Revolution, but also the Reformation Act was during a Pluto in Aquarius. The splitting of the church into the Eastern Orthodox and Catholic Church back in the 1100s, that was during a Pluto in Aquarius. Like the rise of the Ottoman Empire was during a Pluto in Aquarius. So it's like when you're looking at history, which again, as Emily pointed out, looking at history is so important to see where we've come from.
You're just looking at today through a different lens. You know?
Exactly. We have to learn our lessons from our ancestors and then do better, do differently, go beyond. So on that note, I wanted to highlight Marie Laveau because I wanted to highlight a Black witch, a Black sorceress, a Black practitioner, and in terms of a famous historical figure, there aren't that many. Obviously, I talked about Tituba back in an earlier episode, like many years ago, and there are a couple other Black women who were, of slaves and who were also killed and punished during the Salem witch trials that we don't really talk about. But really, other than that, I couldn't find any like empowering that were like super depressing stories of
almost
Black
like
American.
Whitewashed the history.
I wonder why. Yeah, it's been and obviously we know that these, even if there are stories of people like this, they're very much stifled, silent, not mainstream accessible. But a lot of people know of Marie Laveau, and so I wanted to talk about her and her story because I think she's pretty awesome and badass. So I used a lot of different sources for this. I will post some of them on our website, but I can't list them all right now. There's too many. But I used a lot of both national, like everything from like Wikipedia to all that's interesting to kind of more mainstream news sources as or websites rather. And then also more like localized New Orleans based blog entries. And And so because I wanted to kind of get a mix of all of those takes on her, because I think there's a lot of as you saw, like too with your story, there's a lot of murkiness in terms of dates, history, exactly what went down, because things weren't recorded, and again, things weren't preserved, especially for Black Americans during this time period. So I also want to point out that I can't speak French, and I'm not a New Orleans native. I've actually never been to New Orleans. It's on my list.
Kate, it's so cool. You should go.
I'm so excited to go. Have I told you what I'm going to do when I finally pay off my student loans, which is set to be paid off in full when I turn 39? So I'm 37. So in a couple years, I have like the date booked in my calendar. I am going to go to New Orleans on a big ass trip. Are you going to get and hire a band to play me down the streets and just fucking march and be like, I'm free.
And then just eat all the seafood.
Yes, eat all the seafood. I'm going to drink. It's going to be great. I'm just going to, everyone can come. I mean, you got to pay your own way, but everyone can come.
You're all invited.
We're all going to have a big parade down the French Quarter. So yeah, I'm like super excited about that. That's how I'm going to celebrate.
That's a great way. That's a great way to see New Orleans for the first time also.
I know. Well, hopefully I'd like see it before I pay off my student loans, but
if not, then you've
bookmark.
got a solid plan in place.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I'm really excited. So anyway, I do apologize about mispronunciations, and also I'm going to do my best I know she's very like loved and iconic as a figure, especially in New Orleans history and Black American history. So hopefully I do a good job, and I'm respectful to her image and her legacy, and if not, please let me know in a nice way.
I believe in you. You're gonna do great.
Thanks. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Marie Laveau was born in New Orleans on September 10th, 1801, but also some sources say 1794. Again, we're not super sure exactly the date, but around that turn of the century in the 1800s. Her mother was Marguerite Henry, also known as d'Arcantel, and her father was Charles Laveau. They were both free Black people in New Orleans. Some people thought that her father was like a white planter, but she's very light skinned. You can see there's lots of portraits, which we'll post on the website and on Instagram. But actually, other historians claim that he was a free man of color. So again, a little inconsistencies in terms of the multiple sources and records that we know of. And her maternal great-grandmother, Marguerite, was an enslaved woman transported from Senegal when she was, I believe, about 7 years old. So she was a descendant of slaves. And then her grandmother, Catherine Henry, was also enslaved, but later gained her freedom. And Catherine Henry is kind of labeled as one of her big early influences in her spiritual work, in her Vodou, and I'm going to use Vodou and Voodoo interchangeably, by the way. But we also did an episode on Haitian Vodou, which is which is different than what Marie Laveau practiced, from what we know of. But anyway, yeah.
But you can go back and listen to that if you want to know a little more about it.
And we had an actual expert who practices Vodou in that episode, so please go listen to that. It was great. Catherine Henry is attributed in some records to have been kind of the one who taught and mentored Marie. Marie lived with her as a child. All right, so growing up, a little bit quickly about her marriage and relationships, because I thought this was fun. In 1819, she married Jacques Paris, a free, and I'm going to use dated language, quote unquote, quadroon carpenter, a mixed race carpenter from Saint-Domingue, from Haiti. Apparently, the couple had 2 daughters who died in childhood, but some sources are disputing whether they actually had any children from this union. Jacques died or disappeared. We're not sure really what happened to him around 1823-24, and that's when Marie became known as the Widow Paris. In 1826, she had a domestic partnership with Louis Christophe Demy de Glampion, a white man of French descent. Although it was very common in this time period in New Orleans for mixed-race couples to exist, some sources debate whether or not they were actually able to get legally married. But that was apparently, according to some references and some historians, completely common to back then to have mixed race couples, which is great. It was New Orleans has always been kind of a big mosaic and melting pot of cultures. So they had 7 children together, with only 2 surviving to adulthood. Marie Heloise Euchariste Glampion, born in 1827, and Marie Philomene Glampion, born in 1836. I also saw, and this is like not the point, but there was he did, I believe that this Louis Glampion, he did die or something happened to him as well. So she kind of, in most of her later life, was just alone and is known to have not taken another partner. And I mention this because I think the image that we think of her is this kind of single, strong woman, person of the community, central hub. She really brought people together. She was a healer and everything like that. So, but she really was kind of not defined by her relationships through her life, which I love. Nice. I love that so much. Yeah. So when she became the Vodou Queen, by the 1830s, she became a leader of this multiracial religious community and got her title the Vodou Queen of New Orleans. She had a combination of clairvoyance, healing abilities, beauty, charisma, showmanship, intimidation, and business sense that enabled her to assume leadership of this community. She gave consultations and held weekly ceremonies at her home on St. Anne Street, and is credited with leading the St. John Eve celebrations on the shores of Lake Pontchartrain. Sorry, everyone. These annual events, which, are kind of more derived from European pre-Christian celebrations, pagan celebrations like the summer solstice, they consisted of bonfires, drumming, singing, dancing, ritual bathing, and communal feasting. She was really not often the subject of like newspaper stories when she was alive during her own lifetime. But when she did make appearances in the New Orleans press, she was always referred to as the head of the Vodou women, Her Majesty, the celebrated Marie Laveau, the priestess of the Vodous, or the ancient queen. So she clearly had, a very big impact on her community. She is also believed that she was tutored by Dr. John Bayou, who was a well-known Senegalese conjurer and root worker. So he is, noted as attributing again to her upbringing and knowledge in these fields. She was known to also sell charms and gris-gris, which are pouches containing herbs, oils, stones, bones, hair, nails, grave dirt. They're blessed. I believe that we talked about this a little bit on our Haitian Vodou episode, and I know also my friend Rowan, who we've had on as a guest a couple times, who also has been trained in Vodou, although now they practice more Filipino folk magic, and they practice a lot of different magic. But I have a gris-gris from Rowan. They make their own gris-gris as well. So that is still a common practice in Vodou today and other related religions and spiritualities. They're like little charms, and they're amazing, and they're curated for a specific purpose, whatever you need. And it also was noted that Marie was known to walk around with a boa constrictor.
Oh, damn.
As she was trained by Dr. John from Senegal, she would then become his successor and the main attraction at the center of the square. In New Orleans, she would lead in the chants, sell those cures and charms in the gris-gris, gather intelligence for the latest scoop on her elite clients. She knew everything about everyone, and was known to walk around with a boa constrictor draped around her shoulders named Zombie, or maybe Zombie, after the serpent deity Le Grand Zombie. And slaves were known to gather, praise, and shout Queen Marie as a rally cry for everyone to hear when they saw her. How fucking badass is that? I love her. Love a snake. I do also want to know, this will come up I think later, but I have also seen that there was notes that she, at least in one source, that she did own some slaves during her time. And I will talk a little bit about some controversy with her as a figure at the end. Okay. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit more about those ceremonies. So she was always Catholic her whole life. So she blended her Vodou practices with her Catholic faith. So during these weekly ceremonies, that was always like part of it. And then even later on, she like leaned more into the Catholic side of it, but she had never dropped the Catholic part of her upbringing, which I thought was really cool.
And I mean, Vodou is like at least Haitian Vodou, when we did that episode, right? They're sort of like intrinsically linked because it also talks about like the saints and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. Right. And so I'm not going to go too much into Vodou, but as we know, it was brought over. But that's a great point. It was brought over from Africa and via the Caribbean islands and into the Americas by slaves. It was a way for enslaved Black people to feel connected to their home cultures. And they did use like Western Christian saints and titles and words. They like blended these practices as a way to not only assimilate, but also like preserve and be able to operate undercover and protect themselves. So it's a very multi-layered diasporic religion.
Yeah. Syncretization. That's what it's called. I forgot.
Yes. Oh, good. Nice word.
Thanks.
So I want to read a quick quote. So her narrow room heard as much wit and scandal as any of the historical salons of Paris. The New York Times wrote her obituary, by the way. This is what they wrote in her obituary. There were businessmen who would not send a ship to sea before consulting her upon the probabilities of the voyage. There is a physical healing in voodoo. Practitioners make teas and gain knowledge about plants. Then there are herbs that you use to make gris-gris bags. There is internal, external, and spiritual healing with herbs and voodoo. Marie Laveau would have had this knowledge via Augustine, one of the references that and writers that I referenced. But again, I'll put this all on the website. So aside from that, she was also known for her compassion and her charitable works. She provided aid to the sick. I already said this. She's known to visit hospitals and help the poor with her remedies and prayers. She also nursed yellow fever patients, posted bail for free women of color, and visited condemned prisoners to pray with them. And she also is noted to have worked as a hairdresser. I think this is some of her earlier work before she kind of became like really well known as a spiritual leader. Some sources debate actually if she was a hairdresser or not, but there was some note that she worked as a hairdresser to wealthy white families, but this was a way for her to gain access to information about them and was part of her like information network. I love that she not only used magic, but also information and surveillance as a means of power. And then so she would give this informed advice to people seeking her counsel.
Interesting.
So yes.
Very interesting.
So yes, like I mentioned, she was a lifelong Roman Catholic. She was baptized, married, attended mass, had her children baptized in St. Louis Cathedral. She served as a godmother for her nephew and granddaughter. And then in her later years, she dedicated more of her time to charitable works within the church. And her funeral was conducted according to the Catholic Church's practice. There's no, according to this one reference, they said like no signs of voodooist demonstrations. So later in life and death, despite legends of her great wealth, she actually lived really quite modestly. So Glampion, here's where my note is. He died in 1855. So not too, like a good like 20 something years later, but like, I think they were married maybe for 30. But again, she spent most of her later years alone. Her family experienced financial difficulties. Their home was seized for debt because of this. She died at home on June 15th, 1881, a few months before her 80th birthday. So she had a pretty good long life. She is buried in the Widow Paris tomb in the St. Louis Cemetery number 1, and you can visit her tomb. There's a lot of sites about her tomb. It's a popular spot for tours and leaving offerings, but I'll talk about that in a second. So let's talk about her legacy. So or do I want to talk about her impact? Well, it's kind of both. Okay, so she has a reputation as an evildoer that evolved through the 20th century. I think that this probably was part of, how popular opinion, which we've covered, turned hateful towards the idea of anything outside of Christianity or like mainstream religions. The esoteric all of a sudden became seen as like really scary.
And a solo older woman with power, please.
Right. Especially a Black woman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you.
So, while many people saw her as a charitable and compassionate woman, others viewed her as more of a sinister figure. She was some considered her a fraudulent occultist who practiced quote-unquote black magic and led midnight orgies. She was called
those are recreational. That's not part of the magic.
Right, exactly. What she does in her free time is none of your business. She was called, quote, the prime mover and soul of the indecent orgies of the ignoble vaudoos, and a procuress and errant fraud. But her New York Times obituary called her one of the most wonderful women who ever lived. So, because at her tomb today, tourists and locals visit her tomb. They leave offerings. They ask for her assistance. You can see pictures of it. I'll post them. They're like covered. It's so sweet. They're covered in like different candles, flowers, etc. She's remembered and honored as a symbol of New Orleans' rich heritage, blending spirituality, resilience, and community service. And she's a cultural icon. People believe that her spirit can be invoked to grant wishes. And some believe that her daughter, likely Marie Philomene, became her successor, known as Marie too. But this is kind of disputed. We're not sure about this. But yeah, so I think that's really what I wanted to cover. Oh, wow. Some black clergy denounced voodoo, of course, have denounced voodoo and vodou as a backward religion that might impede racial progress. Like there is now, of course, as we know, and we've talked about this, very negative stigmas and stereotypes, inaccurate information that is harmful about voodoo and that practice. And so it is very feared nowadays, but please do give that episode a listen and do more research. I believe it is closed, or if it is not closed, you need to be trained under an actual practitioner to be able to practice voodoo, but it is not. Don't believe the media, okay? Obviously. Yeah. So I think that's also why she got such a kind of more negative stereotype, or reputation rather, as years went on, because of the sensationalization of the voodoo community and voodoo in general. Yeah. But as far as I can tell, she seemed awesome. And that is, in short, the life of Marie Laveau, the queen of voodoo.
The queen.
Yes. Amazing.
So
she
cool.
Seems like an amazing woman. Yeah.
When you go for your seafood and parade, you'll have to also check out her grave.
Yeah, we'll definitely visit her tomb. I believe you can also visit her old house on St. Anne Street. Yeah, incredible. New Orleans is rich with history. And again, that's where the Super Bowl was. So also it felt like very perfect to cover it.
Extra topical.
Yeah, loved, by the way, the John Baptiste jazzy cover of the national anthem. That was great too.
Yes.
But yeah.
All right. Well, excellent story. I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like we all learned a lot today.
Yes. We all learned a lot, children. Shall we draw a card?
Yes, let's. Do you have a deck?
Let's do Universal Goddesses. I feel like it's been a while.
I'm into it. You know I love the goddess deck. Of course I do.
I know. She's mad at me. I haven't touched her in a while. All right, so it's been a while, so splitter. Hello. Oh, okay. Well, that's so funny. I got the 7 of Swords reversed.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh my God, what a card.
It's a very sexy card. I will post it on our website, on our Instagram. Let me read to you who the goddess is, but it's like this beautiful goddess with long black hair, and she's naked, and she's looking at herself in the mirror, and there's like a man kind of worshiping her, sitting at her third nipple.
7 swords on the wall.
And some like dead
Her
or
third
drunk or
nipple.
passed out guy behind her. I love / hate the 7 of Swords. I feel like I get this all the time and it drives me nuts. But here's the, let me find the name of this goddess. So in the little booklet, it says, "My splendid face, delicate like a flower, bewitches and deceives. My smile conceals only perfidy, falseness, and betrayal. I am Blodved, the astute and vain goddess of Wales."
Whoa. Wales like the country or Wales
Yes.
like the mammal?
No, Wales like the country. Wales like the country.
Goddess of Wales would be way, I mean, no offense to Wales, but way cooler. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So I got it reversed. To me, the 7 of Swords is like a mix. It can be either someone is betraying you or you are trying to be sneaky and get away with something yourself. I also like to read it sometimes as you might need to think outside the box and like kind of break the rules a little bit. Like if you need to get something done, you might need to go over someone's head to get it done because the normal...
Like sometimes it is advice to
Yes.
like keep your cards a little closer to your chest.
Yes. And it is reversed. So I think that to me, that would be saying like, what is it that you're not paying attention to? Are there other, if you're stuck, are there other pathways to get what you want? We are talking about revolution. So immediately I was like, is there sneakier ways that we can resist?
Yeah.
You know,
I love that reading. I would unfortunately have read it like internal as like, what are you deceiving yourself? Like, are you like, what are you hiding from yourself?
I think that's all relevant. I think it all can apply, right? And obviously it's up to you as the listeners of like what resonates most with you. So either way, I think like pay attention, do some unearthing, and
Interrogate sneakiness.
yeah. And I do think it's ultimately still a card of disruption, which that's I hate that it's such a corporate word, but like I am very pro disrupt lately.
I'm pro disrupt.
I'm pro disrupt. Disrupt it all.
Put it on a t-shirt. We're feeling very pro disrupt right now. Do you have any concepts for an ad campaign in that vein?
We really want to disrupt the zeitgeist. We want something innovative, never been done before, for $5,000. What can you do?
And when you send the script, we are going to rewrite it to look like every other ad we've ever made.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't want to take any risks. We don't want to offend anyone, and we need you to follow all of these brand rules.
All of our existing brand rules.
Oh God. All right. Well, so I guess anything else, before we close out?
No, just I love you.
Oh, I love you too, and we love you, our listeners. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I do have something.
Oh.
Which is that if you are listening to this right now,
Yes!
it is Thursday, February 13th, and if you happen to be in New York City or somewhere near it, Kate and I have a stand-up show tonight.
Yes!
At QED in Astoria called The Revolution, where we will be hosting and showcasing some of New York's most spectacular female and non-binary comedians.
Yes.
And if you want to come out, tickets are what, $12?
Yes.
It's a pittance.
Yeah, it's a pittance.
For such a
Cheaper than
delightful
eggs.
evening of comedy. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and all money raised is going to go towards the owner, Cambry Cruz. It's a woman-owned. QED Astoria is a woman-owned venue. It's been the home of the Revolution show, and that's also where we did our live 100th episode recording.
Yes. Yeah.
Cambry's been amazing to us through
Very
the years.
supportive, always.
And she is stepping down as the owner. She's selling the business to, it's still going to stay open, but she's selling it to a new owner. So
who is also a female comedian, which we love.
We love. But as a thank you and a goodbye to Cambry, this is our like last show of the foreseeable future there of this kind. And so definitely come out, and the proceeds will be going to Cambry and to QED. Yeah. So please come check it out. The lineup's amazing.
It's gonna slap.
You get to meet us in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you are our friend, which is the most likely scenario, you get to hang out with your friend.
Exactly. Yes. Right. We'll go out for drinks after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please come out. Thank you for reminding me and
of course.
us of that.
I was thinking about love and how I love you, and then I remembered it was Valentine's Day, and then I remembered it was Galentine's Day, which is the day of our
Galentine's Day. I love the train of thought. I'm aboard your train. Choo choo.
Thank you. Choo choo.
So we will post
Chugga,
details about the
chugga.
show in the link in our bio on our Instagram, as well as links about, or rather photos of the topics we talked about today.
Including Harry Styles' extra nipples, perhaps?
Maybe.
Can you post his extra nipples on Instagram?
That would be amazing.
What is their male extra nipple policy?
I feel like it's fine. I feel like Meta doesn't care about men the way they care about women.
It's true.
Anyway, that is Witchcast Podcast on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Please follow us there. And you can also check out our website where we will post all the links we talked about at witchcastpodcast.com. And while you're out there, if you like us, please leave us a little review, a rating, subscribe to us.
5 stars, baby.
It helps other people find us. It means a lot to us and helps
really
us
like
keep
it.
doing what we're doing. Yes, Witchcast Podcast, in case you're forgetting what you're listening to.
Yeah, we are and have been Witchcast Podcast.
This has been Witchcast Podcast, and good night. But yeah, thank you all. And until next time, Hex yeah!
'Cause it's Witchcast.
Bow da dow da dow da dow. Hey, whoa.
Hey.
It's Witchcast.